When I preach on this type of a topic at church and come to the end of a service, heads bowed, eyes closed, and ask people, say, how many of you have something like this to address in your own life or with someone else? Hands all over the auditorium. And I would guess that's true here too. That you just have issues like that. Sometimes we just ignore them and kind of take the path of least resistance to our own hurt and to the hurt of our churches and the other people as well. But I wonder, before he comes, is there any prayer request that has come up that we ought to remember today? Helen? Pastor at Eldora, Mike Bolton. Well, we got somewhat of from the Myers here, a recent report early in the week. He's still preaching some Sundays, doing fairly well.
You are reporting.
Yes, I'm reporting that. Yes, from the Myers who go there to church. And last Sunday they said he did as good as he's done for some time as far as strength. And for those that don't know, Pastor Voltage has cancer, has been doing.
And there's 5 or 10% they teach, and I scratch my head and I say, I've never heard that before. So you know what it does? It drives me back to the book to see if it's there or not. And 5 or 10% of that new stuff I hear from them, it's there, and it's gold. It's terrific. And then there's 5 or 10% those well-known Bible teachers teach, and I say, where in the world did they get that? You know? And I'm not in their class at all, but I'm sure all of us who teach and preach, there are people out there sitting there that think the same thing sometimes. But I urge you, if it's not familiar truth to you, go back to the book and check it out. And I just want to give you a quote from Bill Gothard. He once said, if God gave me the opportunity to exchange my life for the establishment of one truth among all Christians, and I wanted my life to count to the greatest possible extent, I would choose the truth of Matthew 18 in the spirit of Galatians 6:1. Wow. And there are lots of other Bible teachers that haven't said it quite so eloquently, but agree with that truth. The truths we're looking at this morning and we have this week are absolutely vital to our number one way to please God, and that's the health of His church. A healthy church is a church, some people have said they're seeing 5 to 10% of new salvation growth every year. That means if you're a church of 100, one evidence is that you're healthy, is you're seeing 5 to 10 people saved, baptized, and added to your church every year. They also say that a healthy church is a church where 60 to 75% of its members are in ministries that are discipling them to the next level of discipleship to become more like Christ. And that 40 to 60% of the people are in ministries where they are discipling others. And that a healthy church is a church that is reproducing itself and producing other disciple-making churches. That's why this handout that I gave you today, it only mentions one of the churches as starting a baby church in our fellowship right now, but I happen to know of 4 of our churches that are seriously in the plans to establish a baby church. And that's thrilling. That's absolutely thrilling to the heart of God, and I'm sure to everyone's heart who hears it. I won't take time to point out other things in there. I hope that you get this regularly in your church. We send it out about every 2 months and encourage our pastors to reproduce it and put it in their bulletins to keep you informed of some of the wonderful things that God's doing around our fellowship. A couple of other things we have on our table out there, if you didn't look at it yet, you're familiar with The Stranger on the Road to Emmaus. Well, this is their book called The Lamb, which is for children, that presents the gospel using that same methodology. If you want to know what that means, just take a look at it back there. Another book that's back there, I don't sell these, but I highly recommend them. This book, when it first came out years ago, Marty and I read it for our devotions. It's called This Day in Baptist History. It'll take, like today is August 4th. It will take something that happened in Baptist history on August 4th. It may be 50 years ago or 200 years ago. But if you want to get, I don't know, one old preacher I used to love, I still love him, he's just in heaven now instead of here on earth. But this is the kind of book that will put spizzerinctum in your soul. And if you don't know what that is, you need to get it. And this is one way to get it. It will remind you of our forefathers and godly foremothers, if you please, in the Baptist circles. Let me just give you one tidbit. There's one of the things that a guy I never heard of before studying Baptist history is in here, George Leland, no, not Leland, McGill, is it? I forgot his exact last name. It's a sort of a Scotch name, but he was a black man. He was a slave in South Carolina. And his master was a Baptist deacon. And somehow this slave heard the gospel and got saved and started sharing the gospel among the black slaves. And they started getting saved. And churches began to spring up among the slaves. And so that Baptist deacon gave this slave his freedom. George Leal is his name, L-E-I-L-E. And he gave him his freedom to go out and preach the gospel among the slaves. And that deacon died, and his children tried to re-enslave that black man. And he was no dummy. And if you think blacks are dummies, you just don't know them well. He was no dummy. So he realized that he could indenture himself as a servant to a British guy he knew, go off to, it was either Haiti or Jamaica, and he and his family would serve that British man for 1 year, and then that man would give him his freedom down there. So Leo went to that island nation, and I think he was there and pastored for like 32 years. And he started 20-some churches down there, and they sent 30-some missionaries back to Africa, and that was before Carey went to India. That's just a sample of some of the things you'll learn about Baptist history. So, and there's a second volume out now. Frankly, the first volume is easier to read than the second volume because most of the second one's written by one of the two authors here that's pretty wordy. But it's good stuff. It's worth wading through. So if you'll, Marty, help me get these back on the table right afterwards, so if people want to look at that, they'll have an opportunity to do so. We have been looking primarily at these 5 main concepts this week. You have all these notes down until we get to the 4th one. Helping a brother or sister who appears to be sinning. We get a biblical perspective concerning ourselves and the Church of Jesus Christ of which we are a part. There is a personal prerequisite, and that is getting the logs out of our own eye first. So we took a lot of time. You understand there are 5 steps to what's called church discipline or church restoration. There is first preparation. Preparation of ourselves and preparation of the church. Many churches don't understand these truths we've been looking at today thoroughly, or this week thoroughly. They really don't. There's preparation. And then there's the approach one-on-one, and then there's the approach of 2 or 3 on one, and then there's approach before the whole church. And if there's not repentant, then there's that fifth step, of turning them over to Satan, putting them in the world, treating them as a publican and a tax collector. There are really 5 steps to that. We haven't gone through all of that this week, but that's the big picture. But a critical part of that is this personal prerequisite of log out of my own eye first. And then there's the internal essential of having the right attitude, as we saw in Galatians 6. And then there's this loving approach. We've already looked at those passages. We were right in the middle of the Matthew 18 passage yesterday. Would you take your Bibles and turn there with me again, please? Matthew 18. Remember we said at the beginning of Matthew, the disciples had just been arguing about who was going to be greatest in the kingdom. And Jesus brought them down to earth, frankly, and he said, you've got to become like little children. You won't even get into the kingdom. And little children are people who trust those in authority and obey those in authority. And so then he goes on to talk about how the next thing he talks about in Matthew 18 we looked at yesterday, we've got to do radical amputation and get the sin out of our own lives first. And then he gave the example there about if a man has 100 sheep and 99 are safe, but one has gone wayward, he leaves the 99 and goes after the one. This is all preparation for what's called church discipline or spiritual restoration. We were looking already at Matthew 18 beginning with 15. By the way, I think I mentioned the first day that there are only 2 places in the first 43 books of the Bible where the word church is mentioned. The first is when Christ said, I will build my church. In John.
Everybody up playing some golf.
Number 1.
Hi, Em.
They got lots of stuff on the porch.
Guy's back. Hi, Katie. Zach. Hi, Zach. There's Grandma. There's Papa. No golf course back in your days, was there? Not mini golf. Katie? What do you think about up here, Katie? Zachary. Zach, what do you think about up here? Is that a long ways down? Look at me, Zach. Is that a long ways down? Marcy!
She's gonna try it again. Bless her heart. She has done this and done this and done this and just can't get it completely to the top.
And don't look down. Marty, don't look down.
Katie, it's like 60 feet down there. I don't know if she can hear you.
I think that, is it still a 40? Is that what they said?
40, 50, yeah.
40? Something like that. Well, I mean, then we're on top of it yet, so. I hope she makes it.
Come on, Marcy. We're up here cheering you on. There's the proud parents over there. Woo! Uh-oh.
Marcy's doing the rock wall.
Like there's an orange one on 5 that Ebony sure would work.
There's Mommy.
You can do it, Jordan.
Come on, Emily.
Hi, Em.
Okay, I wasn't gonna do this.
Mother-daughter team. Let's go.
Try that yellow
Oh,
one
I know,
again.
that's what they say. But now that I'm up here, it's not that easy.
Go backwards, dear.
You can do it.
Sarah, Sarah. Go, go, go. Cheer Mommy on, Zach.
Can you push up on your leg?
Yee-haw!
Hurry up, put both hands on the big yellow one. And try to find a butthole to push yourself up. Can you put your foot?
Crash and burn on the other side.
You had your hand in before?
There's Emily grabbing the rope.
Here, good.
Yeah, come on, Jordan.
Now we should just
There you go. Come on.
Front of us, that yellow knob way up there.
She'll get there. Put your foot on the Yeah, he can't put his feet down anymore because of his knee, you know, and that's how he wrecked his knee the first time with that. So now he just goes down and doesn't
Am I ready? Not completely, but.
Go, gals, go!
Dive!
Go! Hi. Hi, Katie. Hi, Zach. Turn around and look here. Hi, Em. Where are we going, girls and boys? Where are we going to? No, Hawaiian luau. Oh well, get going. Okay, today's Thursday. It's time for our luau. Things are kind of set up out there. People playing some games. Hello. Yeah, it's starting to burn.
I thought Anthony was young.
Look, it's my mini pirate sword. Thunder.
Getting bigger. What?
So it's like.
He went around telling everybody it was you. It is.
James,
Let me do it. Let me do it for Jim. So do I.
Is this gambling illegally?
See, I'm catching it on videotape what he's doing. See, I can see it in his hand. There it is,
Going down over here, I believe.
We can watch. You watch it.
And right over to my right, your left, Caitlin Bean has bobbing for apples. So grab somebody you like to race with, like your mom.
Yeah, blood on there. Yeah, that's blood.
You may need a doctor over there too.
This little black line right here. Okay, so no jabbing, right? No headshots.
Hey kids, just stay on the slip and slide. If you want to go on the slip and slide, it's now open.
Go.
Oh, yeah! Oh, it's a draw. Everybody back on. That everything was off. It's a draw.
Remember, no jabbing, Jeff. No jabbing.
Sticks down.
Control cars, if you'd like to do that, a lot of fun. Those ages 8 to 12, if you'd like to go on the motorized scooters, looks like we got a couple kids over there doing that. Ben, what's the farthest we've got on the Hawaiian Island shootout?
There's the girls getting their hair all purdied up. How professional does it?
It's time for our
A little close up there on Katie.
Come on out. The winner gets a slushy, so it's worth it.
listen, so you can wait a second, you can probably try it. But I can, those cheaper.
It says they do the
Mr. Council, what kind of slush you want? We'll do it for you. All right, we need those for 12. 12 and under. 12, 11, 10, 9. Guys, you can do this too. Guys, you can win. Kind of bored down here. If you'd like to do the bobbing for apples, right down over here. Grab somebody else who's really good at.
Hi, Zach.
2 minutes and 30 seconds. 30 more seconds to go. You can do it. Come on, Jeff. You can do it.
Boo! Zach, where'd you go, buddy? Come on up here. There he comes. You having fun today?
4,
Hi.
2.
Anybody else want to make a funny face?
You both win a slushie. All right.
Anybody else going to make a funny face with the camera?
They're not going to win. All right.
I'll make a funny face. Think so.
What names do we got here?
Okay.
Wendell and Autumn.
There we go.
Let's go see Mrs. Callison.
That's a good job there. Okay, what do you got?
We've got 2.
Ah, that's pretty spooky looking.
Roll on down, we'll do teams next.
How about you? Any funny face for the camera?
I think I need to put it on my foot to see up my foot.
Oh. What are you going to do for the camera?
Still like this.
All right.
There we go. Okay.
Let's go now. Where'd that come from? Over there.
Uh-oh.
Here's the long thing.
Yeah, no problem.
Here comes Cake.
We'll only be heading out here in just a minute, so if you'd like to go, make sure you head on over there. For a slushie, man. Need one more teenager. Kelsey's got to do it, Joe.
There's Zachary. Oops.
Ben, how's our Hawaiian Island shootout coming? Got any more winners? This young lady right here can just, yeah, she wants to do it. That's alright, we'll let you compete.
Smile, everybody.
Unorthodox hula hoop in here, but we got a winner. Bobbing for apples is about 10 minutes. We'll let you know when that goes.
What are we doing over here?
You're just getting here, teenagers. We do have some remote control cars down toward the lakefront. And 8 and 12-year-olds, we have motorized scooters.
What you doing, Zach?
Right over there.
Come on, open wide.
Ben,
Close your eyes.
No more winners.
I'm gonna try to get two. Can you hold this? Yeah, I got this one.
Oh, Harry Lane. Do you want to go? Yeah, you can do it.
My turn. Try to get that.
Wait, she's first.
How many tries you get, Zach?
Until you get it or till you get Bob second.
Come on, take a bite out of crime.
Dan Stevenson, I think it's a shirt, man. You gotta wear a different shirt.
Don't step on it.
Hey kids, Uncle Tony's back. We're riding the covered wagon. He's gonna be taking off here in just a couple minutes.
Zachary bobbing for an apple. Okay, Zach, one more try.
Look at your forehead.
Does it say record?
Yes. This is Dad's painted forehead that he got done at the Hawaiian
Is it
party
fuzzy
tonight.
or is it clear?
Kind of fuzzy.
When you move this thing. I'll back up a little. Now how do you see me?
That's clear.
Okay, stop it.
It looks like he got a smiley face and a dough.
No, flames.
Oh, flames.
Push it again to stop it. To zoom it in or out. Want to try again?
Come on, James.
Think about everybody slobbering there.
Watch Isaiah how he does it. He's awesome.
Hey, watch me.
Zach, beat it up, Zach.
Word is out that you competed at the Iowa boys basketball tournament, state tournament, played at Vets. They need you to compete. Mark Davis, please report to the Hawaiian Islands. See that.
Get it, Zach. What are they supposed to do? Knock it over?
Robin or Travis Igastall?
Get it in.
Please come to the microphone.
Hey, just bring our 2 chairs. You guys sit down.
We should bring our chairs down to sit on when we eat supper.
Yeah. It's almost that time.
He was heading that way down by the
Well, if you start on the leg side of the table and form 4 lines there, we'll go through and be
All right, just a few announcements to make before we take the offering. The evaluation sheets are going to be available to you in the back, so that after this service, as you leave, pick one of those up, make sure they get deposited over at the office before you leave sometime. That's very valuable to us. We take those very seriously, look through them, try to make adjustments that will be helpful to the blessing of this camp. And so make sure you pick those up on the way out. Teenagers, tonight, following the service, over in the Jensen staff area, will be a Faith Baptist Bible College sponsored ice cream event. So you're invited to go there immediately after the service. Also, if we have at least 15 people that would raise their hand in interest of opening the pool a half hour after the service tonight, we will do so. If we don't have 15, we won't. And so, who would be interested in going swimming tonight? We want to make it count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, we made it. Okay? Lifeguards, you have some work to do afterwards. A half hour after the service concludes, okay? Tomorrow morning, 9:30, here in the in the auditorium or in the chapel for our closing service. Come a few minutes early, 15 minutes early or so, and see the pictures of the week. But then it'll be just a 45-minute service, and then over for a brunch, and you're free to go home. Make sure you have your rooms cleaned out, emptied out by 9:30. Also, if you would like to use the nursery for your under 2 child, drop them off at about 20 after 9. There'll be attendance there for that. Well, we're getting close to our goal. We've had a goal of $1,000 for our offering to the camp out in New Jersey, and as of last night, $934.12 means we need an offering of at least $65.88 tonight. Thank you for your good giving. I'm sure the Lord is pleased with your desire to be a help and encouragement to our believers and sister camp out there on the East Coast. So, ushers, if you would come, let's wait on these folks for their offerings tonight.
Alright, so can we just get things back to normal here?
Actually, she won't even know God. How do you know that?
Well, let's ask her. Emily!
Emily?
Hey, Dad. I'm getting really tired of books, so me and the girls are gonna head to the soccer field.
Wait, books?
Yeah, bar exam next week.
What bar exam?
Come on, Tim. Test episode.
Well, Emily, I need to ask you a question.
Alright?
Do you know God?
God.
You at least pray, don't you?
Not really, Dad.
Tell me you at least go to church.
Look, Dad, I really don't have time for this, but you put in a good word for me with the big guy upstairs, and I'll get back to you on that, alright? See you, Dad.
I don't understand what just happened here.
Revealing in the future, it's a common plot device.
No, what's my daughter, Emily?
Oh, well, she seems to be doing fine, Tom. She's keeping up on her studies, she loves soccer, basically all the things you wanted her to do.
But she doesn't know God.
You told her she didn't have to.
No, I never told her that.
That's what she heard.
All right, so is it too late?
That's for you to decide, but on my watch, time's running out.
Wait, for Emily?
No, for church, you're gonna be 5 minutes late.
5 minutes, that's an absolute eternity.
That's revelation.
Where are the Emily? We're going to church, come on.
And a transfer fee.
Belongs to the Lord. We sang it this morning, and because of the message tonight, we'll just go ahead and sing it as a group. In heavenly honor, and to the land belongs to the Lord. The weapons that fashion against us this day, that belongs to the Lord.
Not like when the kids go off.
We sing glory, honor, power, and strength to the Lord. We sing glory, honor, power, and strength to the Lord. When the power of darkness comes in like a flood, the battle belongs to the Lord. Praise of the standard, the power of His blood, the battle belongs to the Lord. We sing glory, honor, power, and strength to the Lord. We sing glory, honor, power, and strength to the Lord.
You have absorbed us into your family. You've been kind. You guys have been comrades with me here this week as guys, Christian men. You ladies, it's nice to see you playing with your little ones. I miss them. Don't tell Penny that. She'll get mad at me again. But I miss being around the little ones. Really, really good to see families having fun. What a joy. And participating in the ministry up here on this platform. Thank you, Dean. And what God is doing in your life. Some of you have opened your hearts to us in terms of sharing some deep sorrows or experiences. And for that, we say thank you. You come into your lives and we're out within 4 or 5 days. You folks have been very, very kind. A little different tonight in terms of procedure. I forgot to mention the other night that this is a South African shirt, bought in South Africa, not Kmart here. And it's interesting. I mentioned in 1994 that Mandela came out of prison and into the president's suite. By the end of 1995, we were gone. But just prior to that, in June of 1995, unbeknownst to the South African government, they chose a brand new flag. Their colors, let me start over. South Africa chose, with Nelson Mandela coming in as president, a new flag and new colors. What does that look like to you? The wordless book. We didn't bring a flag to South Africa this week, but these are the colors. All of the colors, I believe, of the wordless book, because we started using them when they found out. was like a church missionary poster contest that we have here in South Africa, because they had high school students sending in flags of all colors, all color of people sending in what the flag should look like. It was just a real turnover, and it heisted the emotion in South Africa over and over and over again, which is good. And so the old flag needed to go. It was all about the Afrikaner white rule and regime. And now this is Desmond Tutu. Have you heard of Desmond Tutu? The nicest or smartest thing he ever said. I don't like Desmond Tutu because he's a terrible man against God and has nothing to do with the blood of Christ. He has said, both from pulpits as the Bishop of the Archbishop of the Church of England of the Anglican Church in England in South Africa, he published and said and voiced that the blood of Christ at Calvary meant nothing for us today. And the greatest thing he ever said was that we are a land called Rainbow Country, the Rainbow Nation. We're all colors. And God had turned that country around. And on their flag every day, you can see the word displayed colors. And we use it over and over and over again. I wanted to mention that. That's the reason I actually wore that shirt, so I can share that with you. Ephesians chapter 6, I'm going to do a flip-flop on you tonight. They've allowed me to share about 10 minutes with you tomorrow as we leave. 10 minutes. And yeah, that's good. It's 10 minutes I get to share with you. Just before we go, in terms of devotions, tonight I want to bring your attention to Ephesians chapter 6. I'm going to mention briefly Ephesians 5 tomorrow, very briefly, but I figure between the 2 days, I've got 6 lessons that I'd rather bring Ephesians chapter 6 tonight to you. We're going to miss you. We've made some dear friends here in the days that we've been with you. We cherish your friendship, your love. We look forward to someday doing something like this again together. Even if we're out there, there's another speaker. I mean, I have to be up there all the time, but whatever God has. Before we get into Ephesians 6, I'd like to share with you not only my address and my phone number and all of that up on the screen here coming up, but I wanted to take a moment and talk with you about what God has given to me as a passion. We left the field in 1980 and spent some years over there, about 14 years, had 3 of our 4 children over there in South Africa. We were on our way to Zambia, and because of a copper dispute, mineral dispute with Zaire and Zambia, 10 days before we were to go in 1979 to Zambia as missionaries, the American embassy in Zambia called our mission and said, do not send the Jacksons over. We are dismissing all of the Americans out of Zambia because of the civil war with Zaire over the copper mines. God really did a reversal in our life. We had 18 old missionary barrels welded on top, 18 barrels with all of our earthly goods in them to go to Zambia in the bush. And 3 times we had them down in New York City dock, and 3 times because of paperwork or something of that effect, they didn't go. And we were very uptight about that. You know, what's going on here? How come this isn't going? How come the barrels are still here? Well, the last time, just after the last refusal of these barrels to go to Zambia, then we were told by the mission, 10 days before we were to go, to South Zambia that you're not going. So another what God thing in our lives, it was fantastic. I was sharing with somebody this week. Caleb, you can put that up on the screen if you want. And then if you want to get a hold of me, just leave it up there for a while so that if you want to get a hold of me, this is how to do that. We're going to get into something that revolves around this tonight, just before the message. We talk about another what God thing. I was telling somebody this week that it takes between 2 and 4 weeks to get a visa for any of you to enter South Africa in the old days. You and I can buy a ticket tomorrow to go to South Africa and be on the plane the next day if we had to, without getting any shots, without going through any interviews, without getting any visa. But you do need a passport. A passport is what lets you buy the ports out of the country. A visa is what lets you into the country. So to go into foreign countries outside of the States here, you need a piece of paper stamped in your passport saying, this government, South Africa, has allowed you to come in. That went out years ago because South Africa is very quick to want the Western power investments in their gold mines, their diamonds, and any other type of investment. South Africa is a beautiful, beautiful country. The most beautiful country in Africa. They have everything you want, literally. And so they don't wait around, they don't want businessmen, they want to get there real quick, or tourists, holidaymakers, they don't want them to wait around for a visa. But back in 1979, after we dismissed going to Zambia, with some details that I'll leave out, we started going towards South Africa, where my heart was anyway. My dad had been struggling with some heart attacks. I applied to New York City. We were only 5 hours away from New York City for the visa. You needed one back then. It only took 2 to 4 weeks to get one. Never any longer than that. God worked it out for us to move back from Cleveland as the youth pastor out there to Binghamton, New York. And we were gung-ho. We had everything packed. We weren't going to Zambia, so we kept everything still in the barrels. We had them shipped to Binghamton, and we were now ready to go. They're going on the boat. We're going on the plane. We're ready to go. 2 to 4 weeks for South Africa visas. We're out of here. We've got contacts. We're going to start a ministry within 2 months in South Africa because we'll be there within 2 or 3 weeks. Little did we know that my father would become very ill and end up in the hospital over and over and over again. Because of his lifestyle and the things that he did, the doctor said, your dad's blood going through his veins is like trying to blow mud through a straw. And so we just went through the third heart attack with him. But the first 2 weeks, no visa. The first month, no visa. Third, fourth, fifth month, no visa. Our passports are at the consulate of South Africa in New York City. In fact, about the fourth month, I took my family and we went down and I walked up to the little lady in front of the desk of the South African consulate and I said, where is my visa for South Africa? And she putted around, went back to somebody, came back and said, sorry, Reverend Jackson, but you know, paperwork. And that's all she gave me. I said, come on, it takes just but a couple of weeks. What's going on? Sorry, Reverend Jackson, it's on somebody's desk and it's just not ready. We went back. My 8th month waiting for my visa. Every day you go out to that mailbox. I had a secular job. I was a surveyor. I was working with surveyors. And I loved it. I was outside all the time. Summer, winter. Every day we go to the mailbox. Never. The 3 little passports with the visas. Never. The 8th month, I left my family in Binghamton. I traveled 5 hours east, went back to the little lady. I said, okay, I've had it. Am I doing something wrong? What is the problem? She runs back, buddies around, comes back. Sorry, Reverend Jackson, you know it's paperwork, it's red work, red tape. You don't push them too hard. You want them to know that you're there. But you don't push them too hard because they can zap you like that, and then you're done. If you catch somebody in the wrong mood in a consulate or an embassy, you are finished. No matter if it's an American embassy or whatever. Went back home. The 9th month, while we were surveying around the Binghamton Hospital where my father was, he had a heart attack, his 4th one. That night, my dad passed away. The 9th month, waiting for that visa. I told the teens this week some of the difficulties I've had with my dad, but I finished up today saying if I was to call any man back from heaven, to me, it would be my father. The last 2 years of his life, he got right with God. 40-some years of being bitter toward God and the church because somebody did something wrong to him. And he made our lives miserable. And he had some terrible habits that the whole family hated. We couldn't stand him. Dad was dead. When he spanked me, after he was done, he'd throw a rag. He said, now wipe the blood off the wall and don't ever do that again. But because of who my father was the last 2 years and how he loved me, I would call him back in a second and show him his 4 grandchildren and their 2 wives, and the blessings that he's given to us from God over the years. He died that evening of the 9th month. 1 month, less than 1 month later, the visas came, and we were on the plane almost the next day. For me to go to South Africa and turn right around and come back and bury my father, like I did before I went, would have been a catastrophe for the ministry and for my family. God did another but God thing. Never have I ever heard of visas taking that long for any country, maybe better. Never in my life in ministry life have I heard that. And yet God worked it out against my better judgment and kept me home so I could bury my father. Chapter 6, we go down to verse 10 where we run into then the relationship is not a good word, but where we are edified or admonished by Paul on how to deal with Satan. And I want you to understand this before we address this man, is this. Finally, my brethren, verse 10, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. The very final admonition and encouragement that Paul gives to the church of Ephesus is about fighting Satan. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Those 2 combinations, strong in the Lord and the power of his might, is normally used in the context and in the original language of being spirit controlled. What we're going to share tonight in a very real way is actively fighting Satan. There is never a time in the Bible where Paul or any of the writers say, lay down and play dead like a possum, and Satan won't find you, and he'll walk right over you, or he'll go around you, and you won't have to fight him. Never! What does Peter say? Resist the devil. There is never a time, loved ones, never a time where we're to play around with Satan. We're to play dead to the world. We're separated from the world. We're not in the world. We're separated from the world. And Paul told us in Galatians that we let the Spirit of God fight the flesh. Satan, we're to fight. And if you think this is just a Apostle Paul comic book, finishing up the scripture, finishing up his book, his letter to Ephesians, then you're not being serious about this. Let me take it, Africa, and show you where Satan is really powerful. And you know he's powerful here too. You don't have to be living in the jungles in the world for Satan to have preeminency. He does it here. And many times in our own families every day. Because he's got you and I bummed up. Now, verse 11, put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. It's that action word again. It's the vehicle. It's don't play around. Do what he says. Put on, take off. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the schemes and the temptations of Satan. It's action, loved ones. It's action. It isn't just working hard every day, coming home, sitting by the tube, eating supper, going to bed, getting up, going to work, whatever, coming back. There is something there, and it's got to be more than just Sundays. It's got to be more than just Sundays. It's got to be there, where you're actively aware of what Satan is doing, and you're fighting. Now, God gives us rest. He certainly does. And I don't mean that we've got to be searching for spiritual oxygen every second of the day because Satan's on our back. God does give us rest. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God. He says it again. He means it. He repeats it. That you may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Paul talks about it in Corinthians, he talks about it in Galatians, Peter talks about it in his letters. He said, resist the devil. Okay, now the first thing is then in verse 14, be strong. Number one is, there is having girded your waist with truth, there is a belt. And Paul was actually, this is one of the prison epistles, you know that. And the guys that were guarding him were Roman soldiers. Now, the things that he says that he's going to put on the soldier is also, all of this is from the Old Testament. Paul just picks it up from the Old Testament. And he tells you, and he stands there, he writes there as a soldier standing there, most likely, and he's telling you this is what you should put on. He wouldn't tell you an Iraqi soldier from the States. He doesn't know that. But he does know what the soldier in front of him is wearing. And he picks it up from the Old Testament and uses these phrases. So the first thing that our soldier puts on is a belt. Now I got a big muscle belt here. This is one of Penny's little exercise rubber bands. Is that tight enough? Okay. Spread it out there. This is really what they had. It was a leather belt. And it went right around here to keep the tummy in. But it was right in that midsection where the guys, in using their swords and their knives, would go through. Now, every one of these pieces of armor here obviously has something to do with the spiritual story, the spiritual truths behind it. So Paul says, gird up your loins here with truth. This is an action part of your body for somebody in judo or karate or stabbing or in war. You need to have this well belted. Not only was it to protect the belly button, but it was also a sheath holder for your sword, which will come up later. The truth. Do you know the truth? Oh, Lance, you know what this is, don't you? Yes, sir. Okay. Now, this is the biggest one I can find with Stephen's help. So let's put that up, okay? Backwards. Yeah. I want you to feel it coming right up to your throat, man. I got the straps as well here. I've got them done. say, believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, that's just something. You know, that's just something the Bible talks about. It doesn't really mean action. Well, if it doesn't mean action there, then it doesn't mean action here. But if believing in the Lord Jesus Christ is an action, for temptations, those darts that John Bunyan talks about, is going to be, what do you call it? Deflected off from the shield. What does he call it again? The shield of faith. If your shield is not strong, then you don't have strong faith. You know, when young people usually, when I tell a lot, anybody doesn't, when they come to me and they say, no, this is not working, he just got chaplaincy of what? Fire? Okay, nice try. Nice try. You're looking good, Lance. Used in their warning, they would use these swords here tonight. And we're going to de-dress them here in a second, but I want you to notice how much gear he's got on. Now, we don't physically do that. That's nonsense. But we spiritually put this on, part after part. That's what Paul says. I didn't say it. That's what the Spirit said through Paul